You are live. Oh, what's up, everybody? What's up? Bring your ass in before I even start. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see him. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Sweet.ThePodcast, episode 26. Damn, this shit is flying. It's crazy. Now, I've had a hell of a day because I don't know what was going on with me, this energy, this body, because, bro, it's a lot. I didn't know if I was going to make it today, but I am here, and I have a very, very special guest. A guest that I wanted to have on my audio podcast, but I'm glad this is a visual representation so y'all can see who I'm talking about. This person is fucking pretty much infamous on Twitter. Like, infamous. They used to go by another name, but I'll let them tell you all of that. But don't ignore that back play. But without further ado, I'm gonna bring him in. We got Twitter's on and all over the New York zone, COVID-19 on Just X Henry. How's it going?
It's going great. Hey, hello.
First question is, though, how's everything going in New York right now with the COVID?
Actually, I'm really elated that New York is taking this very seriously. I'm not out my head about anything. I think the first 2 weeks of it was kind of scary because no one knew what was going on. It was limited information. People were just stoking fear left and right. But right. New York is definitely practicing social distancing at a very high level. We'll remark that the police are a problem per usual. Definitely attacking areas full of Black people. They're not really bothering the white folks in Manhattan like that. But places that are full of people of color, like Harlem, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, stuff like that, they're really going ham. But for the most part, it's been smooth. The lockdown is real. We're not reopening until the 15th of June. And knowing how Cuomo is taking it very seriously, de Blasio is doing his part, that the 15 may be great, but it may not happen. You never know. They've still been continually pushing it back because they're waiting for the numbers to land a certain way. But we have bent the curve, and I have seen the curve bend.
Well, the rest of America, including where I'm at here in Florida, they don't give a fuck about flattening the curve. They don't give a fuck about what's happening. They've been open and shit. They made us go back into the office and all that. And they opening restaurants. Everything is open today except gyms. No, gyms are probably open too. Everything is open in Florida, in Atlanta, all these areas in the South. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate because I'm a bartender professionally, so I definitely have a fear of going back to work because if they haven't set up things to make sure that I'm safe or that I'm social distanced properly from my guests, and a lot of my clientele is European, non-American.
There.
I know how people go, and what you're not going to do is be too close breathing on me and coughing at me and doing too much because I will pop you in the mouth.
Because Europeans, they like to be.
Yeah, I'm explaining my job very clearly when I go back. It's I am not for this right now. So if they come too close, I will pop folks in the mouth.
Right, 6 feet. We shove your drink out like that.
Right, and most of the most of the bodegas here have put up plastic barriers between you and the guests. So it's just it's been work. It's been great for the most part. It just kind of sucks that New York such a social city, and you can't really socialize in the capacity. I would love to sit in the bar, have a few drinks right now, but that's not happening.
I would love that too. That's the only thing I kind of do. That in movies. I love going to the movie theaters, but other than extra shit, I'm cool. Oh, besides booty calls and things and ass and dick appointments.
Okay.
Now, have you gotten any since the quarantine lockdown in New York City?
I have abstained from sex since March 17th on my birthday. I was actually in Colombia when it started to get rough here in New York. So in the process of me being in Colombia, I had sex in Colombia with a friend of mine who I went to Colombia with. That's the last time I fucked was on my birthday. And it's been over 2 months. So today is what, the 22nd. So it's been about 65 days that haven't, 65, 66 days that haven't had sex. And because I have tried to find a quarantine babe, it's not the sake of trying.
Right.
I do a quarantine babe, but a lot of these niggas in New York don't want to be exclusive sex partners through this. They still want their options. And I get it. Your body, your choice. But I'm not getting sick or possibly dying because of your choice. So I've chosen not to do that. I respect people who want to do it. That's your choice. But for me, I don't need that kind of stress right now. I got enough shit going on.
Right. It's too much of a risk. And I mean, even if you was a spring chicken, I'm talking about me, even if I was a spring chicken, a good 18, 19, 20, I can't risk playing that game with the COVID. Now, you was looking for a quarantine babe. I tried. I can't find one either.
No, neither can I.
Nobody wants to be exclusively locked down. And then the ones that probably would, I see you're not taking that quarantine shit seriously.
Right.
So you're not bringing all that shit over here.
Right. Even if you're not fucking everybody, you're still hanging out and doing 20 fucking things. So what do you expect out of me? I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll wait till this is over.
I can hold off. Now, see, when we get into this COVID-19, but see, for a nigga like me, I don't have that many options. I'm a top.
How do we pause for the cause, Jesus? You're a top. How don't you have a lot of options?
I mean, because when you're quarantining, all I can do is.
Yeah, but you still but generally in the operations of things, tops usually have the pick more than bottoms do. Like, I should be struggling, but I'm in New York too, in Brooklyn. There's a bunch of ding-a-ling in Brooklyn. So finding tops here is not a problem. By the way, if you're a bottom, you're looking for a good time, come to Brooklyn.
If you're a bottom looking for a good top, you heard it here first. Take your ass to Brooklyn.
Nothing but ding-a-ling, falling from the trees. You can't walk down the street without you can't walk down the streets in New York without niggas like, hey, psst, psst, hey, yo. Like,
well, where the bottoms at in New York?
There's plenty of those here too, but I've lived in DC, Atlanta, and parts of Connecticut, and I will say that I've never struggled here for a hookup like I've lived in other places.
Which is your favorite place to live? Atlanta, DC, or NYC?
NYC all day long. I don't regret any of New York. I love all of New York. I only have one bone to pick with New York, is that like getting your packages is trash. Your shit might get stolen. But other than that, I love it here.
Where are you from?
I love it. Originally from the DC area. I grew up in Prince George's County in a city called Largo.
Okay, so you're from the DMV, all that area up there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what was your main, if you had to say one bad thing and one good thing about Atlanta, what would you have to say about it?
One bad thing about Atlanta, the legislative infrastructure is not really set up for people of color or for queer people to thrive. It's not really safe in that regard. So when people are enamored to running down to Atlanta, I don't know why. Especially you come from a place that has a legislative system set up with better protections or less harsher sentences for doing things. Like when I was down there, I got arrested for having a suspended license, and I was locked up, and I got unsupervised probation for a year. First offense.
See, that's Georgia for you.
And
Georgia's.
I think that like before you move as a black person or as a queer person, you need to definitely like investigate the legislative structure of what's going on. Like there's no hate crime legislation in the state of Georgia. So it's like for someone to like gay bash you, attack you, there's no protection. Also for like trans folks, like there's no job protections. Like you can still like not get a job because you're trans in the state of Georgia. Like there's no real equal opportunity employment. And I think also too, like for black people, the belief is that like, oh, like Atlanta's the black Mecca. Technically it's not, because the 7 richest black cities in the United States are in Prince George's County where I grew up.
Oh,
there's not any real black wealth in Atlanta.
Oh,
There's no infrastructure. In DC and in Prince George's County where I grew up in a black enclave. I didn't see white people really. Like all my leadership was black. My law enforcement was black. Most of my educators were black. So it's like I never like dealt with overt systemic racism until I left Prince George's County. The most that I dealt with was classism growing up. So Atlanta's really not a black mecca at all. It's a lot of niggas down there, yes, but you guys really aren't running anything. So it's like, what are you really walking into? But as far as a good thing, I would just say beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns. I can't say, the only thing I would say about Atlanta, like honestly, that's good is that like if you want to own property and rent it out and make money for like Airbnb or rental property, it's a great place to like land and homes are cheap, especially coming from northern prices. But other than that, beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns.
I wasn't expecting to hear you say beautiful gowns. You just got me like, I
want people where like I don't go up for Atlanta like that. Like, I mean, I don't knock it in the ways of like people knock it for the gay part of it and gay culture. I don't knock it for that way because every city's trash in that regard. Yes. If you're looking at it from that vantage point, but like legislatively, financially, it's a blue area in a very red state.
Very red.
It is a literal bubble, which is not really a bubble, which is even like when you're down there, like for me, when I moved down there, it felt like I was going like 10 years into the past of living in Prince George's County. Like it was just like, it was, and then also like for entertainment too, like people run out there to be like stars and stuff. You get in New York. Like, and you have, and the things that like Atlanta is very crabs in the barrel all the time. Like people don't want to see you win. I didn't feel supported brand wise when I was down there. When I got to New York, everybody's just like so helpful and like they want you to win. And the black excellence here is much more real here than it was down there.
That's true. Atlanta seemed like the black gay mecca of the United States. Hell, they say even the world, but they forget that it's in a fucking red ass state. Red as fuck. Like I live in Florida. I live in a red ass state.
Right.
But I live in Orlando, but it's always in the metropolitan area where it's blue, but you step right outside this bitch.
That's it. You step outside of it as soon as you step outside of it.
Now, when you move to New York and were you always as free and confident and about your shit and not giving a fuck about what people are saying, whether what you were doing sexually, professionally, or anything, were you always just like, fuck it?
I think that like when I turned 30, that's what was like the paradigm shift. I think because I've always had a mother that I've never had to lie to, and has always been supportive of me and my blackness and my queerness, that I've never had to like shrink myself to make people comfortable. But she was also aware of me growing up and being bullied as a kid, of always having to shrink myself. So when I became an adult, I was very much more focused on just being me. Like my mother said to me all the time, people are either pissed off or being pissed on. It don't matter what you do. So
come on, mama. I
generally just be myself. And I mean, within reasonable respect for people's space and their own energies. I don't like violating people either the way I've been violated. I will say very clearly, if you start me, I will finish you. But even then, that kind of energy I don't even expend anymore. I don't have time for it. I don't lock that kind of energy in my that kind of space. I don't like that kind of space in my life anymore. Also, another part of it is I want to tell my own story where people tell it for me. This is my narrative. This is my truth. This is my. And I'd rather be in control of my own story than let people say this and say that. Like I always fear dying and people like misleading my life to being this one way or another way. Where the receipts are in Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, my former blog, my former YouTube, all those things sit. This podcast, everything.
Yeah.
So I never want to empower people to make an informed judgment about my truth when I'm just like, hey, this is who I am.
I love that. That's what I love about you, because I'm telling you, I found you on Twitter years. I don't know how long it was, but it's been a few years ago, and I followed you ever since. And some of the shit you be saying, I'd be like, I'd be like, yes, oh damn, I ain't think of it like that. Oh well, you make me like check myself and how I was viewing certain things, and then some stuff I'd be like, oh God, they're gonna come for him.
Right.
But I mean, one of the main things for me that I was just enamored about you was with your sexual freedom, and you easily talk about that. But before I jump into that, you said you were violated. What do you mean by that? Like,
high school. What I'm saying, I'll say, like, I remember like when I was in 6th grade, and that was the first time I've heard someone ever refer to me as gay. someone had asked if I never heard the girl name was Juanita. I never did. Her name was Juanita, and we was outside waiting in line for something to go in the building. I don't know, it was a fire drill or something was going on, and she asked me if I was gay. And I was like, no, but I've never really heard the expression because I didn't grow up in a homophobic household. So I never really heard it before. So I was like, no, I'm not gay. But then when I got to 7th grade, it was literally downhill. Bullying, picking on me, couldn't go down certain hallways, practical jokes being pulled on me. I considered suicide my senior year. It was very dark to the point where like I have blocked out most of middle school. I can't remember any of it.
Middle school was the worst for me too. I hated it. I hated middle school.
So
go ahead.
So that level of violation for me, I never want to experience that again. I would never allow people to dictate my power to me in that regard. And the thing was like the crazy part that the violation wasn't like a lot of men, it was a lot of women. It wasn't that many men that were really like fucking with me like that. It was a lot of women. Like they were much more vicious and much more disarming to me than men were. And I was like, and I think because I grew up in a family. Women had 3 older sisters and my mom. My dad and I don't have any relations whatsoever. But I'm not used to like. It was very off-putting to be betrayed by women like that. And I didn't internalize it too much, but I understand when queer men give pause to sharing space with cisgender heterosexual women. I get it. They are just as dangerous sometimes with their homophobia as straight men are. Cisgender heterosexual men are as well.
And I knew what gay was. See, my story is a little different. I grew up in church, so I knew what gay was before I knew I was gay because I was hearing it. Like, what is this? Oh, these 2 men. So I'm hearing this. And when I realized I was young, like 6 or 7, and I was like, oh, I'm attracted to, that man, that's what I like. That is fine. This is what I'm looking for. But I was like, okay, but I can't let that out. Let me pop that down and suppress that. So I kept it suppressed. And like in middle school, people thought, and I fucked around with a few dudes, but never was out and open. In high school, though, it was people, I don't know what people thought, but I wasn't open and out. I didn't get open and out until I graduated. And I was like forced out the closet, like pushed.
Oh, wow.
So it was a time for me, but I get exactly what you're saying. And I didn't see it as violation, but that is exactly what it is. It was violation. And see, that put a word to it. I thought it was just normal, kind of. At that time, I thought it was normal. Like I was the wrong one for being how I was.
Right. I think when you have time to step outside of yourself and actually sit down and have a conversation with the child you used to be, you'd be really shocked what that child will tell you sometimes. And I think people are really not addressing their inner child. I've had therapy for 2 years. When I got to New York, I was sat in therapy for 2 years on general purposes. I think that as a double minority, being Black and queer, you should be in some kind of therapy period.
Yes.
Just to unpack. You have to unpack that. But there are other systemic things that happen through your experience. But I definitely have honored and made peace with my inner child and the things that I allowed to happen to him. And I've apologized to him deeply. I've tried to make up for it. And I think people don't realize my ministry, what I do in social media comes from him. Like I owe him an apology. I have to make sure that another one of him never happens again. I have to make sure that I empower people to not be violated and to be survivors of whatever things they happen that violates them. Like I just really, really hate people purposely violating people. I hate it. And if anybody knows me very clearly in social media, like I root for the underdog hard. Like I'm not for any of that shit. What you're not going to do is violate someone's mind and business. I don't play shit when you fuck with trans folks. I don't play shit when you fucking with fat folks. I don't play shit when you playing with them folks. I don't play with none of that shit. Leave folks alone. Like I just leave folks alone. Like everybody's in their process. If you have something nice to say, shut the fuck up. I tell my friends all the time who are mad peaceful. They got like different platforms than I do. Like no. Sit. Let me be the villain because I'm okay with it. I'm not scared of nobody for shit. Let me be the villain. I need like let me honor the hateful part of the rage of the inner child that sits in there sometimes that needs to peek out every once in a while. Like, hey, two horns, I'm here. Like I let them out. So just like I think people don't realize that like when it's time to get loose, I'm gonna get loose. And generally it's because you done started some shit. And like I said earlier in the podcast, you started, I'm gonna finish it. I promise you. And I'm very patient. I don't have to get at you right now. Like the whole Matt Connor situation. 2 years. I stood on that neck till I got my apology.
You are, I promise, one of my favorite accounts on Twitter. It's hands down, even including celebrities, and I don't even follow that many celebrities, but you are, everything you say, it makes me question shit. It's like, well, damn, am I looking at something wrong? When did you lose your virginity?
I lost my virginity December 2001. I was 21 years old in my mother's basement to a 10-inch penis.
You remember the date? I don't remember the date.
I can feel the room. I can feel the dark. The lights were off. The TV was just on. We had a big, huge, probably like 70, 80-inch TV screen or whatever. And I remember, and the guy that I had did it with, he was somebody I already been like having oral sex with him and fooling around with. So we were very familiar. It wasn't traumatizing, but it definitely wasn't thought out at all.
Right.
That was a ball drop on my behalf, and also because he didn't know he didn't know I was a virgin. So he just like thought that like he wanted to just like put it in there, everything would be good, but like he didn't like rush it or try to violate me or like anything crazy like that. He just like, okay, it's not going in, and I'm trying, and I don't know what's going on, shorty, but it's not working. I was like, it was awful. It was awful. But him and I did have sex when I was much more advanced, and I surely worked that thing out.
Ding ding, ladies and gentlemen, yes. So you didn't take that 10-inch dick that day?
Not that day.
Did he get the head in? How much did he get in there? Well, if it's a 10-inch dick, the head probably didn't even fit in that much.
I just remember it feeling like someone like grabbed me from my eyebrows and just pulled my whole hairline off. Like I remember like how like searing the pain was. And it was different between taking a finger. It was like that shit hurt. Like I didn't understand about lube. I'm pretty sure I didn't bleed either. Sure I didn't.
I'm sure I didn't. I know I didn't know nothing about that.
Right. I'm sure I didn't. So
I didn't know nothing about hearing about that.
I remember like spending like a whole like probably like week and a half looking at my ass to make sure that nothing was ripped or I was bleeding. And I remember like not having any form of anyone touching that thing for I think for like 6 months. I remember it vividly.
I remember having young sex with someone. I was the top, and they had to go to the hospital because I was just going. I wasn't trying to slow stroke. He had to get like some stitches at the top because I had just like.
So are you telling us that it's big like that? So you have a big old penis?
It's the same size as your first rendezvous with a huge dick.
So guess who's making a trip to Florida soon, America? You're welcome.
Oh yeah, America. And then you're gonna be like
oh my God, I can't.
Oh wow. But now when we're talking about sex, and since we in this area, I didn't bring this up, and
Okay.
this is shout out to T.S. Madison because I was watching her at work this morning, and their whole show was about fetishes and shit.
Okay.
And I couldn't comment or chime in. Normally I would chime in, give my comments and all this, but I was busy at work, so I just had to listen to what was going on. Now, if y'all cannot, let me talk right into the camera. You hold on, Henry.
Okay.
If y'all can't take this shit that we're about to say right now, you may want to log the fuck off. I have no control over what's going to come out of my mouth in this segment. If you watched other episodes, you know I really don't be giving a fuck. But going into this, now we're not talking about pedophilia. We're not talking about animals. That's now sodomy could be humans too. But all of that. Have you had any? I'm sure you have because I have. Any problems with people that you're probably interested in, and you bring it up something like, "Oh, you want to try this," or even mentioning on Twitter, since you're very vocal on Twitter, something that you may be into, or people be like, and if so, what is that thing?
I think that like this is crazy part. I really don't have a lot of like I don't really have any like major like kinks or fetishes or anything like that. My sex is very much vanilla generally for the most part. But I do have a thing that I like wearing lace or maybe panties. Like that's kind of fun. But
That's your kink.
But the thing about it is like everybody does it now. So it's just like, what am I gonna do next?
They do.
So it's like,
you ain't. Go ahead. I need to hear more. Go ahead.
It was like now it's like I remember like some guys. What I say is some guys I've like talked to about it, and they're just like, that's not my thing because I think because I'm so masculine presenting that people want to hold on to that, and I have masculine and feminine energy, so just like I'm going to indulge who I am as a sexual being like completely. Some guys really hate it. Some guys really love it, but you know, if you want another nigga will, so.
I'm gonna tell you this. I didn't know. I knew about it, but I had never seen or experienced or been with anyone, a man who had a masculine physique and all like you, to wear lingerie except my ex. He wore that, the panties, the G, all of those things. But he not all the time. But you know, sometimes boom,
right.
boom, boom. And my God. I think about it still to this day. I'm obsessed with that shit now. Like I fucking love that. That's a thing for me.
I think people to honor the fact that like part of the fetish of wearing panties plays into masculine and feminine energies directly. And for top, it's very empowering for them to know that they are completely that nigga. Like they just completely are exuding that masculine. They got this really soft, submissive person willing to do almost anything up under them for them to get that nut, and they not running from the dick. They taking that pounding, face down, ass up, on the side, riding it. And I ain't talking about that lazy ride like you girls do when you scooting. I'm talking about your feet you're planted in that motherfucking bed and you bouncing on like Frogger. Not that lazy ass riding the rest of you motherfuckers. I'm talking about you bouncing. You got that, you holding that nigga by his neck. You got them feet planted. You just, let me tell you. Let me tell you. When I got my setup on, let me tell you.
Nah.
We may not have won the war, but we won another battle. Let me tell you. So
that's a battle that
men like it. They grow, especially they grow into like saying the word pussy. Like that's a process for some niggas. Like I like saying ass or hole to me doesn't bother me, but I've been with some guys who like visually get upset when you say the word pussy during sex. Like they can't maintain. Like if I wanted to fuck a pussy, I get me a girl. The word pussy is a euphemism. Like is it actually like a cat with sharp teeth between her legs? No.
And I think you said that before, and I was like, well, damn, a girl's vagina and cat is not a pussy. This is just a euphemism for that.
Like
and
is a dick the president of the United States between your legs? No.
Trump, that little shriveled up orange fuck. Right. That's a little cock.
Right.
Trump exactly. A little cock.
It's not a bird between my legs, gonna gobble gobble. No, not between my legs. So I'm trying to understand, like, what is the problem with euphemism? I think people egos are exclusively too tied to sex and their self-worth and their self-esteem, which is another issue. So I think it's imperative sometimes that like lighten up.
Please.
Like only us and bonobos are having enjoyable physical sex. Every other thing in creation is doing a shielded for procreation. So if God made me the highest form of creation to allow this moment and to enjoy it, fuck you, I'm going to enjoy it. To the point of my ability to enjoy it.
He the one put the G-spot in a man's ass.
Exactly. Like that nigga knew what he was doing. Come on.
Why would you do that?
Like whatever, whatever creator you believe in, the creator had to be a black person. That's ingenious as shit. No
like, wow.
No white person come up with that. You serious? Fuck out of here. You serious? No white person come up with that. Whatever God you believe in is a Negro.
Oh, yes, he is. My creator, the energy that we come from was
right, is a Negro. Is a Negro.
Jesus was of all of that.
Right. Exactly.
But I'm gonna say this before I get out of this freaking kink shaming. You have a light kink because I can go there. Like I will do. People ain't gonna like what I'm about to say. Like I can play with the water sports. I can do that. I can do it.
I haven't gotten there yet. It's been suggested a few times. But the thing sometimes about playing into certain kinks for me with guys is that if it's a power thing for you versus an enjoyable thing for you, I don't want to give somebody that kind of power.
But see, let me jump in because you mentioned that the lingerie and the men just loving because they have full power. But see, the last time I remember this clear as day because I still think about it and beat my meat to this shit, and it's on video. But is when my ex was in the lounge, like it was a white hole, like it was a whole piece. It was pieces to this thing, and then I was like being the submissive top. Right. You take control, and you can tell me, I was just like, I'm still the top, but you run me. You tell me what it is, and I ain't saying just the top. Giving that golden shower or water, I'm equal opportunity.
I think there's a thing with men with tops like assertive bottoms, not dominant bottoms. There's a difference.
Yes.
So people want that assertion, like.
Don't make me do every damn thing.
Like if I'm having sex with you, like I'm very verbal, so I may say to you, Daddy, can you break my pussy, please? And that I have seen niggas be completely ruined. Or like, Daddy, why do you hurt me so good? Then you gotta look back at them with the Puss in Boots eyes.
that's
and like, Daddy, I promise I'll be good. I promise I'll be good, Daddy. I do whatever you want, Daddy.
This is
like you gotta. I think that there's a part of like some guys don't like verbal, but there's a part of like
I love
that mental foreplay in sex where you are. I think it's where like one of the things I think that a lot of men fail in sex that they're not present. A lot of them just going through the motions, but nothing more sexy than being with a partner is just as present as you are. I'm very verbal, so it's like I'm gonna talk my shit. Especially when
yes, say it.
It's like when I got the feet planted and I got you by your neck and I'm riding your dick and I lean over, whisper your ear, you gonna come in this pussy tonight. And when you come to me, they mine. Them my babies. You gonna give me them babies, nigga? Over. So
now see, this is how I'm feeling. Because that's all the things. Ooh, that's all.
Man, I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna play it. But that's the kind of thing, and I don't like lazy ass bottoms who feel like they ain't got to do shit. You ain't got to say nothing. You just there, boom, and take it.
Right.
Say something. Interact. Do this. That's I don't want no boring ass, lazy ass. Let me put it in. Fuck you.
Especially when they playing like we got a top that's playing. I'm just like you said it. You got me like legs up over your shoulder, or you got me like got my legs like resting in your elbows, and you just sitting there hitting it. I'm just like, and I grab your hand and I say, I want a necklace. Put the necklace on me. I put on my neck. That's what you're supposed to do. Put your hands. I like to wear necklaces. I like a nigga with pretty necklaces. Put your necklace on me, baby, please. And I grab your hand, and then like you see that they get to look like,
that's what it's about.
You just got okay. Like you have to like sometime like coach your partner to like giving you what you want. Like, cause sometimes you have some tops who are considerate partners where they don't want to violate you or scare you, so they don't really go at you crazy. They don't want to see that you are in pain. They make sure they do their check-ins, make sure you're okay. But then you coach them and like, look, you can toss me around a little bit. I'm 5'7", I'm 170. I can take a pounding. I got cakes back there. Dunkin' Little Debbie's. I got all that shit back there. So go ahead.
And that's what you need. That alone will preach to the bottom and even the goddamn verse community. Because coach your top, coach or your verse nigga, whoever you're getting, or even if it's a transsexual beating you down.
Because some tops don't want to hurt you. They don't want to. They are like, especially when they have big dicks too, and the ones that are aware they have big dicks and they know they can be very painful. They want to make sure they're very cognizant of your body, so they want to make sure that you're like enjoying it. Because like, I've had some tops that have huge dicks, and they'll be like, "Are you okay? Like, I'm not hurting you, am I?" And like, hurt you.
And see, there it is. That you got the green light. Ho ho ho.
I ain't had sex in so long. I ain't been hurting so long.
I ain't hurt nobody in so long, thanks to fucking COVID-19, and it's a mess. Speaking of all this fun and all this, now there's been a lot going on in the gay world, and it's mainly about that Corey and MJ shit that I just keep asking all these people. Like, I know plenty of monogamous LGBTQ plus relationships. That Corey and MJ thing, it's so many obvious things that were a fault. No communication, obviously. How do you feel about all of that and this little topic?
I think that the whole situation was trash. I think MJ is too old for any of that shit. You should have known he was a terrorist with that thin ass motherfucking mustache. I think that is very performative as fuck to do what he did in his relationship.
Yeah,
I think the whole situation. I think that like my issue that I have sometimes with queer couples is that I support Black queer love, but I don't need it to be performative, because that's misleading to people who have been in real relationships and understand what the work is required. That is not a 6-minute, like you put your whole love life on YouTube, like you monetize off your love life. And in the most disarming and harmful way to our community, you don't only have queer people watching you, also have a large populace of Black straight women watching us.
Mm-hmm.
They are assessing that our love lives are like this. You are playing the victim and playing to our own bottom misogyny by allowing that shit to go on the way you did. Now, don't get me wrong. They were both on two sides, because the problem I had with MJ is very clear and obvious. The issue I have with Corey is non-monogamous, but the problem is that Corey didn't have the language or the tools to clearly express what he wanted.
Right.
And that's where Corey dropped the ball. But I think that for you to publicly have this conversation is disrespectful to Corey, disrespectful to you. I think that anybody that would date you in the future would be completely foolish. Like, you're an attention whore. Like, how dare you sit here and have this relationship and let this all play out publicly, and they have the nerve to sit on live and sit on another video next day like, thank you all for checking in. Bitch, it ain't been 12 hours.
It kept coming
that shit. And I think that shit makes me so mad, because like I was in a non-monogamous relationship for 5.5 years. Me and my partner split a year ago this month. And the thing that we did when we got together was we held our relationship privately for 1.5 years, 18 months. No one knew, because we made the choice that we wanted to build the foundation first before we gave people access to our relationship. Like, our close friends and family knew, of course, but no one knew in social media that I had a man. It was no one's business, because at the end of the day, what I was building with him was important for us. And like I tell most couples, regardless of their non-monogamous, polyamorous, in a throuple, whatever way you want to love, that you build your kingdom that suits you best, when you and your king or your queen or whatever you both identify, whatever you want to identify as. You never build a relationship at the heels of what other people are doing. And then even when me and my ex broke up, we broke up privately. Like, it's still really not common knowledge that we're not a couple anymore. Like,
I had no fucking clue that you were in, and then I've seen you. But I mean, you did that well, because I didn't know none of this shit at all.
Because this is the thing. If you value something and this is your treasure, this is your gold, this is your diamonds, you don't give pearls to swine. And a lot of you niggas are swine. You don't give your most valuable thing to people that don't know its value. Do you really think I will show up with a motherfucking Louis Vuitton bag at a pawn shop and try to resell it?
Because you ain't finna get what you get paid for.
What I got for it, what I paid for it. Absolutely not. So I would never give people that kind of, like, I have invited people into our relationship. I did a video for Slay TV, also did an interview on my old platform about non-monogamy with my partner. But for the most part, like, we made very clear agreements before we went public. And that was the thing that people that where MJ and Corey failed is when you are building a relationship, it is important that you make agreements. And I'll be open about the agreements we made. So, like, contrary to the belief of what most people think how non-monogamy happens, that there's always some incident or some great violation or people are like compromising, and we'll get to compromise later. But we walked in day one, it was like, I don't want sexual monogamy from you. Okay. And the things that, because for both of us, we didn't feel like our self-esteem was measured by us fucking other people. I support, and this thing is always so triggering about this argument is the fact that, like, just because I'm non-monogamous or have been non-monogamous does not mean I'm anti-monogamy. Your relationship is your business. As long as you're not fucking with me, I won't fuck with you. So at the end of the day, I'm very supportive of any relationship that exemplifies love and it's healthy. I support it. But if it's like negative and foolish, like MJ and Corey, then I'm going to definitely have issue with it.
I gotta say something.
Right. I'm gonna have to respond because the problem that I have is these babies see it and these babies think that this is how it's supposed to be. No, my love, that's not love. That is an inconvenience. They don't even unconditionally love each other. No. I love my ex unconditionally. While we are just friends now, I still love him in friendship. But we're not romantic lovers anymore, but I still love him. Yeah. And I think it's important that you honor your commitments and your agreements. And one agreement we made was the non-monogamy. Another agreement was when we argue, we would never dehumanize each other. You're allowed to cuss, you're allowed to scream, you're allowed to be upset, but you're never allowed to assassinate my character. I don't give you the permission. It went ways. Also, there were some rules around the non-monogamy, how that worked. And the other agreement was I would never leave you worse than how I found you. So even if we break up tomorrow, I would never leave you worse than the day I found you. And I kept my promise, and he kept his as well. And I think the thing that I learned from him in the 5.5 years that we were together, and as an amazing partner he was, that he kept his promises, he kept his agreements. And I think that people don't realize that regardless of how much people grow apart, relationship changes, you have to keep your agreements. MJ and Corey did not talk about agreements before getting into a relationship together. A relationship is a business decision because you are both representing each other. True. And you're very aware of what you are walking into. And if you can deal with that kind of appearance, that kind of people looking at you, can you manage that? Like even with me, before I was just X Henry, I was a blogger named Rod Clever. My former partner made it very clear. He was like, I had to consider what you do on social media and if I'm okay with that. Right. Because he has to walk that journey with me. Because now we're sharing this platform again. While he may not be physically on it, he's an extension of that because he's an extension of me. So he had to make a choice that made him safe and feel comfortable. And he was like, no, I can't date you because of X, Y, and Z. All I can do is just respect it. Because that's the piece that he has to sleep with tonight. That's not my piece. Right. I should never empower myself to take someone's peace away from them. And I feel like MJ and Corey didn't respect each other's peace. And I think that Corey didn't express what he needed to express very clearly. MJ didn't ask the question. And I think that's even much more damning about MJ and the idiocy of all that shit is the fact that you're supposed to be out here giving people love advice. And you can't ask the right motherfucking questions. Why are you here?
What is the reason?
You are dangerous. People like you are dangerous.
And you know who else is dangerous? That other couple of that designer dude or whatever he is. I know you've seen. I don't know.
The light-skinned guy and the other. They got their name tattooed in their eyebrows.
Yeah. Them too.
I just like, the thing about them that really makes me sad is they are built for each other in the most toxic way. And no one else be able to put up with them like they could with each other. But the problem that I have is that they allow that part of the relationship to spill out into social media. And I think that when it comes down to the one who's the designer and you being a brand in a business, that's a mess.
It is a horrible mess.
And one thing is that, like, while my man is important, you're not coming between my money either. Because now you fuck with my individual stability. Because this ends in this flounders and drowns. I can't have my brand too fucked up that I can't make money off it because I didn't fool around with you.
All over social media.
And I think that if you love and respect someone and you value them, you'll value the work that they do, especially if you knew about it when you entered a relationship with the person.
Exactly.
And it's just one of those things where it's just such a mess, and it's very disheartening to see them always arguing and defending their relationship. Like, at some point, if everybody is saying the same thing, at some point you have to take inventory of what's being said.
Right.
Acknowledge it. But a lot of people are afraid to self-actualize. People are also afraid of accountability, and people are afraid of that mirror. And what the quarantine has presented, thankfully, is that mirror to a lot of y'all motherfuckers. You never had to look in the mirror and reassess something.
Oh, yes.
Okay. But I think that when it comes down to couples, and of course, like, I think the thing about non-monogamy is always so misleading is that people think that it's about sex. People walk into non-monogamy for different reasons. Part of my reasons come down to me wanting to have spiritual control of my body. Mm-hmm. And I've seen tops in particular use misogyny to control me and manipulate me. Or like, you can't be this, or you can't do that, or you can't assess that. Or if you do decide to fuck other people, you only can be a top, you can't be a bottom, because that's my whole, like, no, I belong to me. I've always belonged to me. You are a complement of my life. You are not a completion of my life. And to
shame myself, that was me as a top in a previous relationship.
Yeah, like, go ahead, baby.
No. All I'm saying is you're nailing it. You telling the fucking truth.
Like, tops will shame you into like not being your full self sexually. And the thing that I ask tops is, what have you done to earn my monogamy? The second part of it is, if you're like one guy said to me, it's like, I should be enough. You can't even manage me saying pussy and wearing panties. So how are you ever going to be enough?
Exactly. You're right. You ain't accepting even all of me. So
monogamy is a great idea. I get it. I receive it. I understand it. But why am I being monogamous? And if I am monogamous with you sexually, you have to be able to fulfill the things that I want. Mm-hmm. Or we have to have a comprehensive conversation about the things that I'm into, and vice versa. It's like me being a total bottom and dating someone versatile, and knowing that I would never be able to fulfill that part of them by topping. So has to come to a real conversation of, do you need to get that elsewhere, or can you be okay without getting dick for, death do us part or whatever?
Right, exactly.
And you have to not be afraid of asking those real questions. I think the one thing that non-monogamous couples do sometimes better than most monogamous couples is that there is a comprehensive conversation around stuff like that. I think the thing that monogamous couples drop the ball is that monogamy is always assumed on certain levels. And what you may find as infidelity is different for others. And there's also different levels of monogamy. There's also, of course, there's sexual monogamy. There is romantic monogamy, which can be like you not being romantically entangled with your work wife or your work husband. Whew. There's also financial monogamy. You should not be giving anybody else your money, but our house and our kids and whatever dreams we are acquiring. You are giving money to some nigga at bars and buying niggas drinks. That's a violation for some people.
Yeah.
But it's not a conversation we ever have. There's also spiritual monogamy. Our souls are interconnected as a couple. Why are you pouring part of yourself into another person and they're not pouring anything to you at all? Like, so when I need you to pour into me, you already poured yourself into 3 other people already.
Exactly.
So like how am I supposed to sustain each other if you are spiritually feeding other people before you feed me. Like there's a part of it, like, and also in the spiritual monogamy, you have to be supportive of your partner's goals and dreams. Like those things are very important. I think people don't realize that. And while for me, spiritual monogamy is not about being spiritual non-monogamous is not a violation for me. Financial monogamy will get you popped. Like there should be no reason why you are allotting your money in this way and not telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Right.
when our funds are commingled at a certain point.
I'm 100% agreeing on that. But people, that's why the communication is there, because that was an issue for me. And I guess that we didn't discuss that in the beginning. Like, I ain't trying to control you. You work, I work, but I ain't trying to control your money. But we both input into this household. So you going and buying a random $200 something, like, wait, hold up. I get you can buy what you want, but that was supposed to, what are you doing? That's the, and then I get that.
Like me and my former partner, we had 4 bank accounts. We had 2 joint and 2 individual. Now, whatever you do with that individual account is your business.
Right.
But when I pull from the joints for the bills, I don't want to have no questions about where is this money at? Or why didn't you apply? Why this bill hasn't been paid? I want to have that conversation with you.
Yeah.
So it's like, if those are the agreements, let those be the agreements. But that's the thing, that it comes to day one of having agreements. Like, I really feel like, if anything, MJ did like boo-boo the fool of anything, because you got somebody in your house and you didn't have a comprehensive conversation what monogamy looks like. You got somebody in your house, you didn't have a comprehensive conversation about what financial monogamy looks like. And that's the thing that makes me sometimes nervous about monogamous dating, is that monogamous couples assume these things. You have to ask these questions. You have to be emotionally intelligent and okay with asking those questions. I'm not saying that like you sit around and like you sit there in a suit and tie, you have a full interview with this person, you have a back and forth exchange, and you exchange it like it's some kind of prenup, but you ask real questions, because the thing that the last thing you want to do is create minefields for your relationship later. And that's one thing I learned in my relationship with my former partners, that there were some minefields that I didn't ask because I didn't have the discernment or the education at the time to ask certain questions. And I think one of the things that another agreement that me and my partner made was that there was no hitting each other. Because one thing that couples don't talk about is, have you been the victim or the perpetrator of domestic violence? And you'd be really shocked how many niggas have been the perpetrator of domestic violence. You'd be really shocked. You'd be really shocked how many niggas have put their hands on their boyfriends. And I will tell you very clearly, I am not that nigga. If you hit me, my nigga, you better knock me out. When I wake up,
you're dying.
Tell you, like Lil Scrap putting these paws on you. When I wake up, I ain't that. My ex told me very clearly, he was like, you put your hands on me, there's no talking, it's done.
We ain't got nothing else to talk about.
Non-negotiable. That was his like, nothing you can do to make me change. If you hit me in malice, that we're done. We're done. And that was a thing that he expressed very clearly. And I respect that. But then on the other side too, I ain't about that life either. You better not touch me. And I'm not even for you putting fingers in my face. Don't do that. Don't do that, Kenya Moore. Don't provoke me, because I'm very close to the bullshit.
That bitch, fucking Kenya Moore.
I'm very, very portion to the bullshit. Please put your fingers in my face. But I think that people don't ask the real questions, and also you because I mentor 5 gay men currently right now, and you would be shocked, like, and some other kids I've mentored in the past, how many gay men has experienced sexual trauma. Like, you have to talk about that, because you may be having sex with them and trigger them and not know it.
Right.
Like, you have these real, and that was the thing about my ex where I failed was I never asked the right comprehensive questions around his mental health. And there were some minefields we stepped in that we shouldn't have, but because I didn't know and he didn't know how to express that it happened. we survived them, but that was definitely a mistake on my part, because if you are the person I'm sharing my life with, that you matter to me, you are the most important thing right now in my life, that I should be completely invested in knowing everything about you, good, bad, and indifferent. And I didn't ask all the right questions. So when those minefields happened, they blew up in my face hard. And I've had to be the one to be accountable to like fix them, unpack them, direct me, vice versa. So the thing that like you should always ask questions, because a lot of us really do need therapy and really do need help, and we're not taking the time to do. Like my ex pushed me into therapy. I was one of the black was like, therapy ain't for me. I don't need no therapy. Therapy for crazy people. Let me tell you, therapy saved my life.
I'm gonna say this: I need therapy.
I say if you can find it that's affordable, you can find a program or a group therapy. I think you should do it.
But I need to find a Negro, and I'm afraid to. I just feel like if I go to a non-Negro, you're not gonna know my plight. You're not gonna understand me, and that's been my biggest fear. But I don't know how easy that'll be to find a black fucking therapist.
My therapist is an Afro-Latina.
I could do that.
She is amazing. She is like, I haven't seen her in like a year now, because like she's giving me the tools to go out here in this world and actually like handle my shit. But she is amazing. Like and the thing about like my therapist was the fact that like when I walked in, she could recall everything. I know she was seeing like 50 to 100 people. She's working hard. And I remember walking, she was like, so last time we talked about X, Y, and Z. And remember you said, I remember you said it like months ago. You were telling me about this situation with your family. Yes. And she remembered names. I could like, it was like I remember I've had therapy sessions where I come in like, it's like amazing and it's great. And like, I'm gleeful and happy. And I've had ones where like, I have literally cried my complete heart out. And I'm going home to cry some more because I unpacked some things that I wasn't ready to unpack. And she pulls some. And the main thing about therapy is that therapy doesn't necessarily heal you. It just gives you the tools towards your healing. Like my therapist is sitting there, was like, okay, problem one, you do this and it's fixed. No, it's not linear like that. It's very like asking you questions to question what you are seeing and for you to understand. So like a lot of ways that I write or I tweet some things are to get you to think. I'm not in the business of changing people's minds or change people's hearts. I would never be in that business. It's a waste of time. But let me put a pin in it. Put a pin in this one for you. Right. And you sit on it. Now you assess it any way you want. I'm not gonna ever tell you how you should think about shit. Just put this pin right here. Put this little nugget in your pocket. Let you think about this one. And then you sit on it, you think, and the nugget bears fruit or it grows into something, great. If not, great.
Oh, I told you, your tweets be making me like, now damn, should I? Well, damn, I do that. It always makes me think about shit, like how I could look at it in a different perspective, or even now, you need to see if your Afro-Latina therapist can give me a teletherapy session from all the way.
She's such a sweet woman. Like she's just so warm and friendly and like just amazing and kind, and she would hug me when I needed to be hugged, and she would have the tissue ready. I just remember like I didn't see her for a while, and I went to go see her, and I was like, this is goodbye for a while. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm ready to be out here for a while without you.
Right.
You definitely gave me the tools I need to survive. If I feel like I'm veering too far off the path, I'll be back. But right now, I need to like handle myself without you for a little bit. I've been too codependent to come here every week or two to sit in here with you and unpack on you. When, while I appreciate it, I have to start doing some of my own problem solving.
Right.
And I've kind of gotten to, and because I've changed some things spiritually in my life too. That's also compounded my ability to be much more thoughtful and reasonable and much more gentler with myself.
That's fucking awesome. I'm all for that shit. While I'm talking about this monogamy, I got two last things I want to pop in this bitch.
Sure.
How you feel about DL men and discreet men? would you fuck around with them? Do you entertain it? Do you entertain it at all, or you respect their privacy? How you feel about that?
Wait, the thing froze. Say that again.
I said, how do you feel about DL men, discreet men? Do you entertain them? Do you talk to them? Do you pay them dust? What you feel about them?
I'll be very honest. One of my best relationships was with a DL guy.
Oh.
We dated for 3 years privately. He broke me out of the need for public acceptance of my relationships and public validation. So I don't need to love in the capacity of people. He was very thoughtful and very kind, and he taught me a lot of things about myself. He was really DL, not discreet, like like some of these girls in DC are sometimes. They got these government jobs or they work in a certain position. They act like nobody act like they gay. Child, you ain't bought a wife or nothing in here. Child, you getting long in the tooth. You stop faking. It's okay. You got a little boyfriend. The world has changed. You can bring a little boyfriend to
be out now.
Right. But he was very DL because of his relationship with his church, because of his family, and professionally what he did. And he chose not to be public with our relationship, but we had monogamy. He would come to my bar and see me with his homeboys, and I was just Henry the bartender. And all his homeboys knew I was gay. They all were super down to earth. They were all thug niggas too. Like, he was a drug dealer. I used to sell drugs for him. I could be a weed mule. I do my job and sell weed for him. Because he was wasn't working at the time. I was like, I'll take 10 bags to work and just sell them for him.
That's good.
I used to be ride or die for this nigga. I loved him. He was a really amazing guy. But every DL guy is not the same. Let's be very clear about that. I do respect. I think the thing is that the thing that's disheartening sometimes about how we treat DL men is the fact that we all were DL at some point. We all were closeted and processing, and that goes into the understanding of having compassion and perspective for people. Everybody's reasons for being DL are different. Some people are DL because they have these careers that they feel like their sexuality would attract from immediately. Some of them value their relationship with their church family much more. They value their own personal relationships with who they have romantically. Some of them don't, especially with Black men, disappointing their parents, especially when they're well-to-do or they are educated. They know that you could be cut off from the family for making that choice. For Black folks, it's different. So I'm very much more compassionate to our people.
Yes.
I'm speaking only in the lens of Blackness. I don't know what white people go through.
I don't know either. I don't know that DL life for the Caucasian persuasion.
Right. So I don't think DL men are necessarily terrible, but there is an exchange of what you're giving up. You won't be able to do public things with your partner all the time. I remember we would go on dates. I lived in Prince George's County, like I said, but we'd go all the way out in Virginia to go on dates because he didn't want to bump into anybody that he didn't know. Right. And because he was a big man, at the time I was 5'7", 135. At the time he was 6'7", 300 pounds.
What?
I told you my pussy can take a punch.
Excuse me. Say what? Say y'all heights and shit one more time. Say what?
I was 5'7", 135 pounds. He was 6'7", 300 pounds. And he was a thick old foot player, built ass, heavy ass nigga, chocolate as fuck, gorgeous.
Oh my
gosh! With a gap and big ass hands. And he was so sweet, and he was a big old teddy bear. And I think the thing about him, I think that's the thing that I've noticed in any relationship I've had with people, whether it be romantic or interpersonal, that I'm always someone that people feel like they can be themselves around. I don't know why that is. I don't know what kind of energy I give off, but that's what I've always been introduced to. And I just remember he was very vulnerable. I was like his safe place. He was on places that he was allowed to be himself, and he always had to be like everything else. Everybody had to be super masculine or the leader, and always very centered. He was always himself when we were together, and he was a really good man. He's a really good man, but dating a DL guy, there are some things you may have to give up. and you have to make your peace with that. But then it also comes down to agreements. And he's one of the first guys also that I dated who made upfront agreements about our relationship. And I didn't understand that at the time I was 27. When I dated my former partner that I just broke up with, the agreement thing made more sense. And I think that when you're dating DL guys, that you definitely have to ask them where their boundaries are, because you guys live in two totally different worlds.
Yep.
So you have to figure out if they are okay with certain things. And the thing that if my ex allowed me to introduce him to my mother and one of my sisters. So, but my mother was told very clearly, my sister was told very clearly as well, you're not allowed to talk about it and you're not allowed to tell anyone. Right. And my mother, being as pro-LGBT as she was like, I understand, because I wouldn't want nothing to ever happen to this black man because we told his business. And my mother was very much that you have to protect queer people at all costs because the world is not protecting them. So she made it very clear. She was like, your secret's safe with me. You will never have to ever worry about that. Never. And to this day, she has never talked about it with anyone except for me and my sister. And we broke up 10 years ago.
Big ups, mom. She's on the real tip.
She is. She's A1 as fuck.
And I'm gonna bring up this last thing because you said that you had a viewpoint on this about, and this is, I seen this because of Flashman Wade. People are upset. Now he's not the only one. There are others, but I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and then I'm gonna let you say one thing, whatever you gotta say. My thing is, if the gay man or if the gay man, the bi man, and the trans, whoever's watching this shit, they're paying their money to see it. Obviously, I don't see how he's doing something really wrong. I get he's pandering a little, maybe not really, but gay men are gonna like what they like anyway. And I'm gonna say all of us, we'll look at a straight man and try to be like, oh, well, you'll message him on Twitter, say some out of pocket shit to him on Twitter, or all this shit or whatever. Do you feel like he's pandering to the gays, or do you feel like he's just capitalizing him, or is he wrong, or is it cool?
I would say in regards to Flashman Wade and
him specifically,
I don't feel like he's doing anything wrong. I'll say this: gay men have a very weird relationship with masculinity and its presentation. Flashman Wade is also very desirable. He's light-skinned. He has light-colored eyes. He has a very symmetrical face. He has beautiful flowing blonde brownish locks. He has Eurocentric features. He is physically fit. He has a gorgeous ass. And for the guys who aren't size queens or like myself, he has a nice penis. That's no shade. I'm not into a penis that size. So, I respect the brothers who like, average size penises.
Yeah.
I like the dick to be so big and make my teeth click when it hit me. Like, come on, I need that. That's me. But I can't speak for everybody else. But with that being said, on the other side of it, Flashman Wade also supports the LGBT community. He does prides. He gives our time outside of the sex work. And because these niggas want to see ass, he gonna give them what they want. And because you niggas are going to pay for it, because gay men love a straight fantasy. They love having access to what they can't have. They love the taboo. It's the same way how the Cash twins monopolize off the incest sex. Ooh. I'm talking on Twitter. I just fucked my stepbrother today. Daddy came and got this ass because I was looking at him having sex with my mama. Like, y'all into this kind of shit. So he's only reinforcing the taboo that you guys go after anyway. But if we are going to sit here and call out gay people or whether we call out straight people for capitalizing off of gay men, we need to talk about how gay men capitalize off of trans men. Like, you all sit around and fuck trans men all in their male vaginas all day, and then you don't say nothing about trans equality. You nothing about trans rights. You don't send no money, no GoFundMe when these girls are asking for money. You send no money to these men asking for their hormone replacement therapy. You're not doing none of that shit. So like if we gonna play Who Shot John, like let's look in the mirror too, people. Let's look in the mirror too. Y'all sit here and all of a sudden everybody want to fuck a trans man's vagina. Everybody all of a sudden want to be playing a trans pussy. All of a sudden. Since when?
That's why it just came up. I'm seeing it like crazy.
Transphobic like 2 weeks ago, but because y'all are so invested in the presentation of masculinity, you stick your dick in anything. And I'm not saying that to devalue trans people. They're not anything. They are people. They have value, but you can't be from one form of privilege and not helping the disadvantaged group. So like, if you are going to be fucking trans men, you should be lining their pockets as well.
Hello.
Y'all niggas don't even watch Pose. They got the nerve to be fucking trans men. Y'all can't sit down and watch Candy Abundance or Candy Ferocity or Electra Wintour. Y'all, and then the thing that's so weird about it is you sit there and will fuck a trans man, but you are so mean to trans women. I don't understand that. I don't understand it at all. Like it's all heights of disrespect. So you can't talk about nobody pandering, doing all this. Like all you OnlyFans niggas sit there and you fuck trans people for the fetishization and the taboo of it, and they get nervous when I call you BBC. Oh, you right here. I need you over here, out of my face, with all of that shit. All of that shit. That's just bullshit to me. Like you can't complain about your marginalization when you're marginalizing somebody else. You just can't.
Message.
You can't. Not with me. You won't. You did it with all your other little friends who don't give a fuck about people who have no common sense and emotional intelligence. You did it with them, not with me. That's just trash. Like, and the thing is, like, I find all types of people beautiful, and I'm okay with all types of beauty, physically and sexually. But I'll make something very clear. I would never willingly sit on camera and fuck a trans person and not support their freedom as well. And it's tantamount to some level of appropriation by using trans bodies in porn and not compensating them properly. There has to be some kind of compensation, whether it's not social politically or social economically.
I hear that bottoms don't even get paid where they're supposed to get paid.
Y'all ain't put up a trans flag for Trans Remembrance Day. Like you don't see y'all interacting with these trans men outside of the porn y'all do. Like,
they ain't gonna even retweet a trans person getting murdered. They ain't gonna even press retweet.
Nothing. You're not saying nothing about these black trans women that are dying left and right. Like even during the quarantine, they still dying. Like they like these trans women not even living in the house. Really, they're not leaving their fucking neighborhoods. They still get killed. And what are y'all at? You fucking your trans man, not saying shit. Eating trans man pussy and shit, not saying shit. That shit's tired. It's just tired as fuck. Like I just don't respect it. So like I don't knock these straight men that do to us what we do to trans people. I don't knock it to some extent. Mm-hmm. Like y'all give y'all money anyway because y'all. And the thing is like, it's just all foolishness all around. It's like y'all don't support anything like so. Like when I'm usually like retweeting on my timeline, I retweet everybody. If you a trans man and you got your shit popping, retweet. You a trans woman got your shit popping, retweet. I don't give a fuck what you do. That shit's sexy to me. I'm gonna retweet it. I don't play into desirability politics with niggas anymore. I really never did in the first place because I've never been desirable. Like, and the thing is so funny when people are saying like, "Oh, Henry, you are attractive," and blah blah blah. I was like, but that's in the scope of what y'all don't see. So like, y'all are mentally attracted to me, and I receive that. But like, when it comes down to like, if I wasn't like, I was like me being an average ass looking nigga in my opinion, and I had trash politics, y'all would eat me alive.
Oh.
But y'all put up with pretty niggas saying dumb shit on a regular basis. That's how desirability politics work. Because I know that I said that shit, y'all will let me get away with it. Y'all be all kind of old, all kind of faggots, all kind of bald headeds, all kinds of like you ugly, you this, you that. Like y'all would take me from hairline to toenail. So let's just stop. Let's just stop for real. Let's just stop. I ain't light skinned. I ain't bodied like that. My dick ain't that fucking big. I do got nice ass.
You got body too. I ain't gonna need a lot.
I think it's subjective, but like not to the body these girls go up for.
I ain't got the body these girls. I ain't got these girls.
It's just like y'all, but I'm not saying y'all. I'm not saying you, my love. But it's like I just see this game played sometimes, and people valuing physical currency over social political currency, and it happens a lot. And it's very sad because if like the way the minority Olympics works is like it's one someone's always losing the race.
Always.
It may not be our race today. It could be our race tomorrow. We're gonna lose. So I think that like it's important to like help our own people, especially our Black people. Like non-negotiable, you should be helping our Black people like to win. Now, don't get me wrong. Umar Johnson can suck my left testicle.
That's psycho.
Right, and get a hair stuck in his motherfucking teeth. like Tariq Nasheed, you can swallow all this nut and all this shit down that throat, beloved.
Please.
Like choke. Please.
Choke
like,
on all the nut.
Nothing. There's no sympathy because like you are disarming. Like I got to do with David Banner on Twitter one time because David Banner was supporting. He was speaking at straight Black pride in DC like some years ago, and I'm just like,
I remember that.
Like my nigga, you want to like you're not even a press for that.
Now, what do you need a pride for?
Right, what you need to like I said it was like a Black pride event where like you niggas were like doing something like to empower people in the diaspora. Y'all weren't doing that. Like you are doing this in a complete retaliation to gay pride.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Or what? And he could not give me a legitimate answer to why he's doing what he's doing. Why I don't support David Banner. I think David Banner is another one that needs to go. His Hotep head ass.
Oh yes, he's full on Hotep. Full on Hotep.
Like trash, complete trash. These are the same niggas out here telling people that women shouldn't be having periods and shit. And listen to Dr. CB ass motherfucking like be alkaline. Girl, shut up. Shut up.
I hate them Dr. CB ass niggas. I'm sorry.
I hate they asses with a passion.
I get so sick of these niggas.
I like for real, just like you want to be supportive and like I love my people for our Blackness, but you're not gonna like disrespect me because I'm queer.
You're not.
And I think the thing that's even more disarming is the fact that like our ancestors were a ton of things. And they could have been queer, they could have been two-spirited, they could have been trans. They definitely were not Christians because African slaves were from indigenous groups that were more likely polytheistic than monotheistic.
This is very true.
When you are a Christian, a Judeo-Christian, heteronormative thinking ass person, get the fuck out of my face. Because your ancestors weren't that. That's why you suffer now because your ancestors don't see you because you worship in that white man's religion.
And you hate yourself trying to be something.
Right, like that shit makes no sense to me. That shit makes no sense to me. And I respect the fact if you want to be a Christian, that's fine, but your ancestors weren't Christians. That was not a religion that we chose. Like for me, it's like I'm Buddhist. I chose to be Buddhist because I'm like my ancestors weren't Christian. My ancestors were probably queer. My ancestors were probably in same-sex relationships. I don't know what my ancestors were, but I knew they were not Christians. They were not Christians.
Period. This is deep. Because
like, why would I purposely live an existence that my ancestors wouldn't even be proud of? Like this was a religion passed down to me through slavery against my will. And I respect other people, everybody else's choice to whether they want to celebrate their divinity, but it won't be through Christianity.
Oh,
not me.
Nah. That's
and I respect everybody else's choice, but it won't be.
No, I love everything you're saying. I love these different perspectives. I love this shit. But I am Christian.
Right.
I don't because see me, I'm not your I don't feel like Christianity is what is given to us or given to us through slavery, through I don't see it as that. I feel like, number one, I feel like all religions have it right in some aspect. I don't feel like Christianity got it right. I don't feel like Muslims got it right all together. I don't feel like Buddhists or all these people got it right. I feel like, oh, you got that part and you got this. I feel like it's all intertwined, but our brains can't fathom shit like this. And so it's been separated and people are going to pollute it. People are going to toxify it and people are going to change it. Put human words into it and it pollutes all this shit.
Especially like since the fact that like why Christians really get on my nerves is that like I really appreciate that you can quote a Bible verse, but do you know the history of your religion? Do you know about the Crusades? Do you know about that about Vatican City and the other verses of the Bible that are not inside of the Bible?
The Apocrypha.
Do you know these things? Like do you know that some of the Da Vinci Code is a lot of Da Vinci Code is not real? is a mess, to be frankly honest. Do you know these things? Like, do you understand why the Anglican Church happened? Because Henry VIII wanted his own church. Like, we need to talk about these things. We need to talk about Constantine's divinity because he was a pagan. He wasn't a Christian. So it's like you have to really have those conversations. But you girls can tell me Leviticus, so on and so forth, child, but get on, go off.
And see, that's another problem. They and even Christians don't even do what the Bible says is this, because number one, let me say this. Number one, yes, from Genesis to what was that? God damn it, whatever the last book of the New Old Testament was, right? It's not in my head. That was the old law, blah, blah, blah. Jesus said, do this. God said, this is what you're going to do. Build this to this. That's got to be there. No, you can't do that. But when Jesus, this is scripture from the Bible, was born, all that shit from the commandments, all that shit was gone. He said, I ain't worried about none of you. I ain't worried about that. He said, because I'm going to put my shit inside of you, and whatever you live your life, but know who I am. We ain't worried about you being gay. We ain't worried about, we forgave all that. We whatever. But see, they don't even abide by their own scriptures.
Right. And that's the thing that's so daunting to me sometimes is like especially with gay men are good for this. I'm old school. I believe in marriage. Marrying for love is actually a modern construct. Like if you look biblically, a lot of it was in exchange of property, dowries, those things. Like marriage was not about love, it was about access to property.
Literally.
Like no one got married for love. Like that's a new thing. Like that's a recent modernization of what marriage is through Christianity. The only thing that I will say about religion in general, that all religions or practices have some law of reciprocity. So it's like that's the only thing I will say, that like what everybody has completely, like Buddhism has karma, Christianity has reaping what you sow, Wiccan beliefs have 3 times 3. Like there are certain things that every religion has some law of reciprocity, but other than that, we don't have that much in common sometimes. And to be frankly honest, is like especially the similarities between Egyptian gods and Christian figures is another conversation that Christians are not ready to have.
I'm ready to have it because but that's gonna lead us into a whole nother hour.
Right. But that's what I'm saying though. It's like it's I think the thing that makes me mad about humanity at large is willful ignorance.
Yes.
And because we are living in an age and access of education, you not knowing stuff is a choice.
Literally.
So like don't talk to me about no shit. I really hate when people be like, what does this mean? My nigga, get Google. Google it.
Literally.
Stop asking social media. Stop asking Twitter. Stop asking Facebook. Google it. Do your research.
It pisses me off so bad. Like, you could easily find this answer, like easily. How you type that tweet, type that shit in Google.
Right. And I think also like asking like a biased audience their idea of something is really a waste of time. Just do your own homework. Especially like a lot of people who are writing these things are not invested in swaying you either way sometimes. If it's not political, child, that's another situation. But like you're trying to Google what is HIV? Like that's searchable. That's the whole Wikipedia page. Like
especially untransmittable, undetectable. Y'all need to
look these things up. Like I think that living in an age of miseducation is partially a choice. I will say also admit that there are some educational deserts, especially amongst Black folks, of the access so that we can see, but that's why it comes down to it being important to teach each other things or to direct each other to, I know this sounds kind of contradicting, but to like, if you can educate people, like educate them.
Yeah.
But don't do it from a place where you're trying to make them agree with you on a certain topic or get them to totally disagree on the topic. But I think that people don't willfully set up a system that people can learn, especially like Black people. There's a learning curve. We have to set each other up. It's kind of like why I don't like RuPaul, but that's a whole other conversation.
Ooh, I can't stand. Hold on. Wait. Now this is why I'm finna play this set, because I ain't gonna even go into RuPaul, but I can't stand that motherfucker there. But this applies to RuPaul and nobody else. Okay, just give me 1 second to get to it, and I'm finna. This is how I feel about RuPaul.
I get so sick of sisters, I don't know what to do. I'm sick of sisters.
that's just like RuPaul. I'll say this very succinctly. I acknowledge what she has done as a pioneer. I acknowledge the work that she has done. I think that it is bullshit to continue this diatribe about leaving the door open for the next person. You cannot just leave the door open for Black folks. You have to leave the door open with the light on and a map. Because there are a lot of things in that dark room that these Black people will not know they're stumbling upon. You have to make sure they get where they have to get very quickly and very safely. But keep doing this whole leave the door open for the next. That's not how that works, RuPaul. I'm sorry, baby. It's not how that works. And for you to be also Buddhist and not understand this makes me have questions.
I wish we could ask that bitch some questions.
But
because
RuPaul would answer it straight ahead directly. And like RuPaul at that point, I feel like that he is very much more about protecting his wealth and his brand than telling people.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of the things that Monique talked about with Steve Harvey is that like the difference between the money game and the integrity game. Like a lot of these celebrities aren't playing the integrity game, and through this quarantine, we've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
How insincere the rich are, and
God,
we need to eat the fuck out of them when this shit is over.
Let's eat the fuck out of the rich. All of them gotta go.
All of them. It's just
all of them.
Yes. Like it's just a mess. Like open your purse. Like for real. Like
I just said on the last episode of this shit when I was talking to an activist Wednesday, I said I want all this shit to fall.
And I hate to feel that way too. Like I feel like the government needs to be unpacked and restructured again.
It needs to fall because it ain't gonna be nobody voting blue. It ain't gonna be they ain't finna change the Constitution.
The United States government is completely corrupt
to the core.
Right, and I think that a lot of systems need to change. And the thing that makes it much more hard to change is that, like, while the presidents are one thing that presents a very obvious problem, the secondary problem is that, like, Congress positions don't have expirations.
They don't.
So, like you have people who was born in 1949 still talking in 1949 shit about how we should be doing and operating. Like, all these white men in Congress, and our nation doesn't, like, the percentage of whiteness in Congress is not matching up to the percentages of white folks in our nation.
It does not.
We're on our way to a majority minority country.
Yeah.
Like, our Congress doesn't reflect what our nation looks like. So it's just like, I don't understand. It's so many things, but you have to remove white supremacy from this country. So once that's removed, then we can start making moves. But like white supremacy is so infected in our world that it's just like it's gonna be a hard thing to kill.
Let me tell you what's gonna have to happen. And people don't like this because I'm that type of nigga. The only way America is gonna change is we have to have a civil war with ourselves. It's gotta be, it's not gonna be voting, it's not gonna be peace. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is America. Any American should know this. We gonna have to battle. It ain't gonna just be black against white. It's gonna be allies of white with us. It's gonna be the people that's standing for good in a new country. Besides all this old Mitch McConnell, Trump, old way of white supremacy thinking. It's gotta be a war.
I think the crazy part is that if this COVID-19 thing goes on longer than what privileged white folks are experiencing right now, I wouldn't be shocked that wouldn't happen because of the way that Donald Trump has emboldened racist white people. So yeah. and white privilege, how he's emboldened white privilege. And like I'll say this: if there happens to be a civil war, black folks, please don't get involved. But make sure you push your white friends to go kill themselves.
That's what I was saying.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. You just sit your ass back.
Just sit back. I need y'all to be quiet on this shit. Just sit back, mind your business. And like, if Karen wants to go, Karen, you should go, girl. Like,
Karen,
I'm so afraid. You should just go and fight for us.
Please, Karen. Karen, please.
Go fight Karen. Like Chad, Skylar,
Hunter.
Go out there and fight for us. Like black folks do not get involved. Just make sure that we keep our rights sealed in the whole situation, and that like if the wrong team wins, that we make sure that we make a treaty that we have some land set up for us, and that's it.
Right.
Dead ass. because like the way this is going, like
it's going terribly.
Like privileged white folks, they about to do some wild shit, and it's coming.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is that I think the thing that for me is that like the pandemic is something that I like would never thought would have really ever happened. It's like some shit you see in a movie like Contagion.
I didn't think it would happen either.
Right. So like for me, there's some days that I'm still in disbelief that we are where we are right now. But what's going to end up happening is that white people are becoming emboldened and they are really infighting with other white people.
Yeah.
Drawing a line with white people, especially politically, that is drawing a line. And if something happens to another white person from another white person, I am really interested in seeing how that's going to play out. Because them walking up on like government areas with like full assault rifles and shit, like I can't understand that. Like we all know black folks did that. In a capacity of numbers that they have done that,
they would have blew our ass away. The SWAT would have been there. They would have been hauling and shooting us, tear gassing us.
They would have reinstated slavery.
Literally. They all know these niggas getting too bold.
They would have reinstated slavery. They did child. They did.
So why these people out, these white people going into the Congress and with their guns and demanding, yelling in front of, open up, I need a haircut. I'm just gonna be sitting here just like that, watching from home. Now,
white folks don't want to go back to work. They want the people to go back to work for them.
Oh,
and that's what's really going on.
Because who are the people that's going back to work?
But that's the thing. Like it looks like a slave master demanding his slaves after the Civil War.
Yeah, that's all this is.
This is exactly what it looks like. And it's like, and the thing like I tell most black people that right now we have a respite of relaxation where we don't have to be at work code switching and do like, especially us in New York and let's say California, because those are the states that have no shade to anybody else, but those are the states that have really taken it seriously with this whole COVID-19 thing. So it's like, for me, it's like I'm really happy that I'm not at work right now, that I'm not dealing with white folks saying racial microaggressors, or me having to talk in like my white tone to code switch to manage not being too aggressively like just scaring white folks. So right now I'm enjoying this respite of just being just as niggerish as I possibly can be. I'm in full niggatry. I am happy.
I'm gonna tell you a secret. When you said 30 was an age 30 was an age for me that made me realize more than just sexually, but career-wise, like I ain't finna be putting my all into somebody else's company that ain't making me shit, but I'm not. So I go in there with all of this, but see, I'm smart and I do great at my job, but I will quickly let you know, don't. And see, I get it, but I can't do it. I just, when they told us they opened the office back up for us to go back, I literally, that same day I walked in, that bitch switched my schedule to part-time. I'm not being in this bitch. I calculated how much money I'll be making, blah, blah, blah. I can survive. I ain't gonna be going out on trips and shit right now, but I don't need that because I ain't going nowhere because the COVID, when that second wave come through.
Right, but see, that's the thing too, is like Italy has already called that no Americans can travel to their country once they open up tourism again.
See, and because it's gonna happen. Church and Trump saying open up the churches, open them up.
A lot of people are going to a lot of unnecessary. Like we're almost at, if we haven't already hit over 100,000 deaths, and then what they wish they had, they purported to like hit over was 100,000. Like I don't understand why people really don't take this as seriously as they should, because at the end of the day, because we had, wait, let me look. Okay, we're at 97,647 deaths right now. Like we like 2 or 3 weeks away from like 100,000. Like they have like purported us having 100,000 to 200,000 deaths.
People still dying, and they opening up the country because they're more worried about.
I think the thing that's so fucked up about this whole situation is that like the American people have been in the mercy of like incompetent state and local governments, and the thing that like it should have been a complete quarantine across the board, that everybody had to shut down and sit out for like, if we would have shut down and sit down for 30 days,
It would have been.
We could have been in and out and over this.
That's what I said. If they would have just put hey y'all, everybody, shut this shit down. You ain't going to work. Y'all ain't going. Cut it everywhere. But now they're like, well, let the states do it. Oh, y'all.
And because Donald Trump is such an idiot, like no one would trust him to listen to him, and that's fucked up. I'm not saying that he deserves to be listened to either, but like you're on the wrong. Like, oh my God, I wish this would have happened when Obama was president.
I do too.
Oh my God.
Like why?
It's like when he got elected, I was like, fuck. And I was like, well, he's already here. It can't get no worse. He go to the universe, hold my beer.
Yeah, right. Hold on. Oh, it can't get worse. Oh, just wait a second.
Let's press play on the coronavirus.
The poop.
Right.
I got something for your ass.
On. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And the thing that I think people need to realize, and I learned this in a physical geography class years ago, that the Earth is an enclosed biosphere. We are on this bitch. There's nowhere else to go. We can't go habitate the moon. We can't go to Mars. There's no like spaceship that's gonna take us across to another planet. We are stuck on this bitch. So y'all would think that y'all would act right because we all stuck in this bitch together. This is a planetary quarantine. Yeah. So like you think we would do better? Nope. Nope. Yo,
we ain't got no damn sense.
Humanity is wild, yo. Like, and now like this has all happened. Like I see shit so clearly now. I'll be like, yo, like we are like fucked until people get their egos out of the way and really want to do best by the people. But because let's say somebody like me who could run for political office if I was interested in that, I could never because of my sexual history on Twitter.
And that's fucked up.
Right. But that's the world we live in. And
but Trump, his sexual history.
He's white. That negates all that.
All right, because he literally said, oh, I grab him by the pussy.
Right.
Fuck him.
It's a mess. Like it's like all the shit is like very shocking to me. Every day it's just like, okay. It did get worse. And now we're getting down to election time and pray for us. Like if Trump is reelected, yo, I would be like completely concerned that the end is definitely near. Like this is like the apocalypse. Like this is about to go down. And I will be clearly planning my escape.
I got to get the hell out of America.
Yeah, I'm out because at that point, if he becomes president again, like I'm planning, like fuck it. I'm like, all right, it's time to go. What I do get citizenship somewhere else.
I got to get the hell out.
Whatever he does, it's gonna take 2 presidential terms to unpack and fix.
To undo it.
And I don't have 12 years right now to sit through the fuckery that this man is about to do. I don't have it in me. I don't even know. I stopped watching the news because of everything that's going on. But like, I don't know where even his supporters are on him right now, good or bad. Like I know, of course, like they all want the economy open up, which is very bad language. The economy is open. Amazon's still selling shit. eBay is still active.
Literally,
online stores are still active. You just can't go and really do anything socially right now. But the economy is not closed. It's not operating at full capacity right now. There's nothing to reopen. It is still open. It's not at full capacity right now. But at this, oh man, I really hope that like when it's time to vote that like as much as Biden is not a viable candidate either, and they really hate us saying the lesser of two evils, but no.
He is the lesser of two evils.
He is, and I can't allow it to get any worse than this.
I can't. So I vote for that dumbass, dementia-ridden old fuck.
Right.
But I ain't gonna like it. So we've been on here for 1 hour and 40 minutes.
We have. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. You have been the longest episode, which I've loved that shit. But I'm finna give you the time to just say whatever you want to say. Tell people where to follow you or read your articles and all this shit. So I'm finna give you the screen, and I'm finna give it to you now.
All right. So my name is just X Henry. You can find me on Twitter at the name you see right there. It's JUSTXNERY. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram. You can also find my writing column, my weekly sex column called Freaky Friday on soul.lgbt. That is SOULE.LGBT. It is one word. It works like a .com. You just go on the internet, type that shit in, and there you are. Just come by, say hello. If you have questions about sex, dating, relationships, you are allowed to ask me any kind of questions. My DMs are always open. It is all love. You all are amazing. You all are important. You all matter. So I'm trying to think what else. And I'm a Pisces. You're welcome.
And I was going to ask you a Pisces. And this is the latest article, y'all, from Soul, SOULE. I was going to talk about this today, but please go read it because it's so good. Go and read this shit. Like, I'm going to have you back on soon. Like on a soon. Very, like in a, we'll talk.
No, I'm here and I'm down.
All right. Well, I'm finna end it like this. All right, y'all. Thanks for following and watching Sweet the Podcast. You know where to follow Sweet the Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter at Sweet.ThePodcast. One word, no spaces. And follow me at Will.the3rd on Instagram and Will_the3rd on Twitter because somebody stole my fucking username on Twitter. So I couldn't put the dot, motherfuckers. But all right, y'all. I appreciate it. And me and Henry about to get out this bitch and got to discuss future